Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ViacomCBS Veterans Network Rock Your Profile event. Today, I'm joined by Miranda and Stephanie from LinkedIn, who are the resident experts on this topic. And let me tell you, I've learned a considerable amount from them in the last few days. I'm Bryon Stopfer. I'm a U.S. Air Force veteran of 7 years. And while serving, I had some fantastic experiences, much like many of you. And I vowed to give back to the veteran community when I could. That sparked my interest and desire to join the Veteran Network. And some 5 years ago, time sure flies when you're having fun, for sure. It's been some of the most rewarding times of recent years, and I wish only that I could have joined earlier. Currently, I'm working for the Global Sourcing Department, supporting design, construction, and MRO and real estate projects around the country. For those that are new to the ViacomCBS Veterans Network, welcome to this event. And let me tell you a little bit about us. Oftentimes, it's a mouthful, I know, to say all of that. Usually, it's just the VetNet. So if you hear me saying that throughout the presentation, just know this is what I'm talking about here. The VetNet is a small team of dedicated veterans and veteran supporters that have a passion for giving back to the veteran community by way of programs and initiatives that are approved by our Chief Veteran Officer, Rich Jones, and brought to fruition by the concerted effort of the team. Some of our events are informative, much like today, and others are fun and lighthearted, like Coffee with Vets that we have around the country, where veterans can go in and have a free cup of coffee, share experiences with fellow veterans, and meet some local newscaster talent there. Or doing TV and documentary screenings that are private, where you can ask the directors, the actors, all the questions you would like to know, and have that backstage pass that way. Rubbing elbows with the stars is always fun. And in light of that, I would like to take an opportunity to thank a few brand ambassadors, VetNet ambassadors, that have helped along the way for many years. Tony Trucks and Jed Lordman from the SEAL team, you guys rock. Donnie Wahlberg from Blue Blood, you're always awesome for us. And Cheryl Underwood from The Talk, and fellow Air Force veteran. Aim high, Cheryl, aim high, go Air Force. Thank you for being incredible ambassadors for us. Today, we have an informative event that I think will add some thoughtful value to your professional profile. Most civilians already know that veterans are clean cut, full of talent and potential, but it's your job. Yes, it's your job to make sure your profile looks as professional as what you are, to network, to hustle, and to be smart about how you broadcast yourself to the world. So even if you believe you have a solid LinkedIn profile today, let's not let good get in the way of getting better. Please remember during the presentation that you can ask questions and ask them through the Q&A board. And time permitting, the panelists will get to those. And if for whatever reason you have questions after the presentation, send them into our website at ViacomCBSVeteransNetwork.com, and we'll get those answered to you straight away. So without further delay, I'm pleased to introduce Miranda and Stephanie from LinkedIn, who are going to show us how to rock that profile. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Bryon. Thanks everyone for attending today. And just so you know, this presentation will be provided to you in a PDF format. So feel free to take notes if you like, but if not, this will be provided to you. So what we'd like to do today is start off by talking about how to build your profile and why LinkedIn is the best place for this. So if you'd like to go to the next slide. Thank you. So LinkedIn is the largest network for professionals that's out there. We have 100 million members across the globe, hundreds of millions. We actually have 690 million members across the globe that are on the LinkedIn platform using it as a way to network with other professionals. We actually get about 3 new members per second, which we will continuously see this grow. So our vision is basically to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. So that's why we have 690 million members. We have 50 million companies that use our platform. And at any given time, we see around 140 million jobs across the globe. In addition to that, skills is a very key piece that we'll talk about today as it pertains to your profile. Currently, there's around 36,000 skill sets that are on the platform, so there's lots to choose from while you're thinking about how to build out your profile. So we'll start off by talking about how to build out a profile, and then we'll transition into basically how to use the platform to network. So if we go to the very next slide, we're going to talk through why a profile versus a resume. Think about your profile as being a digital representation of your experience, what you're passionate about, ways to communicate with employers, your experience, your skills, and what you're aiming to do in your career, maybe your next career, your next play in your career. The profile actually allows you not just to list out where you've worked in the past. It doesn't allow you to just connect with other people, but it allows you to have recommendations, endorsements, certificates, talk about your interests, talk about things you're passionate about. It gives your next employer or anyone that you're networking with professionally just an overview of you as a person. So what's the most important thing to have on your profile? It's your photo. Now, this may be the tricky part where most people wonder, all right, what should I be in my profile photo? Should I be very professional? Should it be very casual? Should I be smiling? Should I be serious? And our answer is what you feel comfortable with. This is the first time that many people will see your face, so you want to make that good first impression. We know that 21 times more profiles are viewed if there is a photo there. So make that photo available. Make it to where individuals who are looking at your profile or networking with you can humanize your profile by having that photo added.
Miranda, if I could add a little bit onto this one here. On the previous slide, we see a picture of myself, which I think was a poor selection. It should have been, of course, Miranda or Stephanie, your pictures are much better than mine. But what I think to add here is that what you're trying to do is you're trying to be authentic. You're trying to be warm. You're trying to be approachable. So we're not trying to take a passport picture where you're stoic and you don't have any emotion in your face. It's important that you add that picture, that warm picture, much like Miranda and Stephanie have. Never mind my picture. Thank you.
It's a great profile picture, Bryon. Great, so what's the next step? So you have your photo. The next step is industry. So this could be the industry that you're currently working in. It could be the industry you're aspiring to work in. So if you're someone that's coming out of college, maybe it's the industry that you're wanting to go into. Or maybe you're at a point in your career where you're changing careers or you're changing into a different industry or function. This is where you would select what industry you're wanting to go to. We actually know that in any given week, whenever employers are searching for individuals on the platform, they select industry as one of those key features. So really think about what industry you would like to select here, because that's how employers are going to actually find you. The next piece is the compelling story. And this is where you can get super creative. This is where it'll really distinguish when we talked about the difference between a profile and a resume. This is the part where you can actually tell a full story about you. Talk about your aspirations. Talk about your career accomplishments. What are you aspiring to do next? We recommend this be more than 40 words. This should truly be a story about you and what you're wanting to do. The way we like to truly think about this is if you're jumping on an elevator with someone and you have just that elevator ride to tell your story about yourself and your profession, this is where you would do it. So really be creative here. Really think about what you would put. I would do a few drafts of this, have someone read it, and make sure it's very compelling. Now that you've done that piece, now's where you can really talk about your past experience. And this could be a very detailed for past positions. If you're coming out of college, this may be experiences you had in internships. This could be experience you had in volunteering or any organizations that you're part of. This is where you can really detail what you've done at a previous employer. If you've worked on projects where you have visual examples or videos, this is the spot where you can include them. This is an area where you can make it truly interactive and it can provide as much detail as you like. It doesn't have to be a list of bullet points. Again, this is a place where you can still tell a story about what you did in your past positions. We see that there are about 8 times more profile views when people have truly built this out and provided a lot of the information about those positions. So I would take these and break them into pieces from your past experience and truly tell a story with as many visuals as you can. Great, now you have your compelling story, you have your detailed work experience, you have your photo, you have your profile fully built out. So what's next? And this is the next piece. Now you're going to start actually utilizing the LinkedIn platform. You're going to start networking with individuals that you would consider part of not just your professional network, but maybe people you network with as friends or family, or maybe volunteering. This is where you're going to start to truly build out that professional network. And here's how you're going to do it. You're going to start by, whenever you log into LinkedIn, we've made it super easy for you to start finding connections. So along the top bar, you will see My Network. There's a lot of AI built into the LinkedIn platform. So what we're going to be able to do is start recommending people that we know you may be connected with or may be in your network. So think about if you've been in the active service, people maybe you've served with. We're going to pull in people that maybe you went to college with. You've listed your past employers. We're going to pull in people that maybe you've worked with in the past. And we're going to start making recommendations to help you start building out that network. So these will be managers, colleagues, friends, and family. And over time, as we start to see who you're connecting with, we'll get better at that piece and start recommending other people that you may know. So constantly revisit this part to start building out your network, especially if you're new to the platform. You can also search for new connections. So we have a few recommendations around this. We do recommend connecting with people that you have something in common with. So again, past school, people you've served with, past employers. And here, we also give you the option to populate in that text box the reason why you're connecting with them. So maybe you met at a networking event, or maybe you know that they work at a company you're looking to work for and you have a mutual connection. Don't just blindly reach out and try to connect with someone if you don't know them. Give them the reason why you're connecting with them. And there's a great little box there to put in a special note, and we'll even populate some of those for you. So this is a great way to start networking and building those connections. So the next piece is a little bit more of an action item if you are starting to look to change your career or change where you're currently working, or if you're just starting to see what else is out there. Ask for informational interviews. This isn't typically with a hiring manager. This is typically someone that is within your network. There's tons of reasons why to ask for informational interviews, but if you are, maybe you're just wanting to learn more about the industry that you're trying to work in. Or maybe you're really wanting to talk to a specific person that's in a role at a company that you're aspiring to work at. This is a great way to establish just that professional bond with some of the individuals in your network, so you can talk through your career path, where you want to go next, what your aspirations are, and just learn more about that before you actually get into an interview process with a company. These informational interviews are a great place to start, and LinkedIn makes it super easy to start connecting that way, and this is a great way to use your network.
If I could add some to this one, Miranda.
Yeah.
Informational interviews, or interviews in general, oftentimes uncomfortable. We have to get you out of your comfort zone. So if you're uncomfortable with doing it, I'll make it easy. Get over it. Ask for those interviews, get in front of those people, ask the questions that need to be asked, as Miranda was speaking to here, and push yourself to learn. Learn from them, ask those questions. Don't go in without questions already pre-scripted. You know what you need out of this interview. Try to get it. This is also a good way to sharpen your overall interview skills, so that when it matters, when you're actually going in and interviewing for the position, you're more comfortable speaking with people and having those type of conversations. Sometimes it's going to be, during this time, perhaps it's going to be online on a Zoom feature or some kind of a platform that is similar. Understanding it, getting all those little small things out of the way is going to help you be much more comfortable when it all matters. And then the last piece I'd like to add to this one is respect what an informational interview is. It's for information. It's for a conversation. It is not a chance for you to say, and now can I have the job? That's poor form. And you went into that conversation under the guise that you just wanted to have a conversation, and really you had other motives. So Don't show poor form there, and push yourself out of the comfort zone. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Bryon. Thanks for the information on that. So the next piece is request referrals. Sometimes people are afraid to ask for referrals. LinkedIn is a great place to do this. It's super easy to do. You can do it through a click of a button. And we recommend doing this when maybe people who are in your network that you've worked with in the past. It could even be personal references as well, speaking to your character. It could be individuals that you've served on a team with, or it could even be managers that you've worked with in the past. Most of us, if we've been in our career for a while, know that we have gotten at least one of our positions through a referral. So knowing someone at a company, for instance, if I know someone at ViacomCBS and I know that's where I'm going to want to work next, I'm going to ask for that informational interview, and then I'm going to ask for the referral. So we do know that LinkedIn members are 4 times more likely to get hired when they are referred in. So we're going to talk a little bit later about how to brush up your knowledge on particular companies, but use this feature of LinkedIn to ask for that referral. The next piece is groups. So another great way to utilize the LinkedIn platform is start to join groups. This is a great way just to network. If you're happy in your career, you're happy at the position you're at, utilize the platform to start networking with other individuals who may have similar interests as you. We have many veterans groups that are on the platform, and Bryon will also give you some information about a great group that ViacomCBS has for vets. So I think that if you start to take a look, we have, I believe, over 36,000 groups on LinkedIn, so I'm sure you can find one that will pique your interest, maybe even a few. So this is a great way to network, especially in this virtual environment where networking opportunities may not be face-to-face. This is a great way to replace that with some virtual networking.
One of the groups, we have 2.9 million. Clearly, you're not able to list all of those here today, but one important one is glaringly missing from your list within the veterans group. It's the ViacomCBS Veterans Network, selfless plug. So if you would like to join, please join. There's a lot of people within our network that have a wealth of knowledge that are open to help, and we're just one of many networks out there that can do that for you.
Great.
Now we're going to
transition to Stephanie. Jump right in.
Thanks. We're going to switch gears and talk about how to get a job. So Miranda laid out the importance of updating your LinkedIn profile, networking, asking for those informational interviews, just how many jobs are on LinkedIn and job seekers are on LinkedIn. So now we're going to actually talk about how you can leverage the platform to find your next opportunity. And it starts with my recommendation, which is setting career interests. You can do this by visiting your LinkedIn profile and selecting that you want to show recruiters that you're open to work. This is super flexible. We've actually recently enhanced it to even make it more flexible, given we're all working from home and maybe you only want to look for remote positions. So that is something now that you have the opportunity to do on LinkedIn. This will not only showcase if you want for recruiters, but you will notice if you have actively been on LinkedIn recently, if you are a job seeker, in response to the global pandemic, we actually updated this feature to not only show, you have the option not only to show to recruiters, but all of your network that you're open to work. It's a green banner, circle around your face for that profile picture that'll show open to work. And we talked about the importance of networking. There may be someone in your network that is at a company that you want, maybe at ViacomCBS, like we mentioned, and they don't know that you're looking for that next opportunity. They're not a recruiter. They don't have that visibility. But if you turn on that toggle open to work, all of your network connections will see that. So highly recommend it. And it'll ensure that jobs that you're most interested in are served up to you, and that recruiters know what you're interested in. So highly recommend that. Next thing we're going to talk about is just reviewing jobs you may be interested in. This is that research piece. So making sure your profile is built out with the work experience, skills, and location is super important, because when you're searching for jobs, we're going to recommend jobs that are relevant to you, but also doing that career interest piece, you're able to put in up to 5 locations locations you're interested in for jobs, up to 5 job titles. So again, this information is all used to make sure that as you're leveraging the platform, the right information is being prompted to you, showcased to you. But of course, for everything else, you can search. There's a lot out there. So leveraging LinkedIn to search for that opportunity is really, really important. And creating search alerts is another key thing that I recommend doing if you are a job seeker looking for that next opportunity. We have a stat here that's fairly small to read, but applicants who apply to jobs within the first 3 days of that job posting are 13% more likely to get a job. So creating a search alert ensures that you are the first to know about that job once it's posted. To create a search alert, all you would do is build a search in LinkedIn. If I wanted a job at Viacom, I would search for Viacom. I am in customer success. I would put in customer success. And then what it would do is I could set up an alert. So the next time Viacom posts a customer success role in New York, I could even add that in because I'm based in New York, I would get an email. I could also get a push notification to my phone, and you can set this up daily or weekly. Again, the best way to get seen or to increase your chances of getting seen is getting that application in there within the first 3 days. So if you don't use the search alert feature yet and you are a job seeker, highly recommend turning that on. You can do it by company, you can do it by job title, you can do it by location. You see function, industry, there's a ton of different filters here. Basically, all of our search filters are criteria for the search alerts. So really recommend leveraging search alerts to ensure that you're putting your best foot forward with respect to finding that next job. And also apply actively. I mentioned doing that research. Once you've done that research, once you know the industry you're looking to go into, maybe the function you're looking to go into, the job title, start applying. You'll notice an easy apply button that allows you to apply with your LinkedIn profile. So super quick and easy to get those applications in when easy apply is an option. And another reason why it's very important to have the relevant information updated on your profile. You want to make sure that the information that those companies get on your behalf is up to date. So Easy Apply, you will see as a feature, allows you to apply within seconds using your LinkedIn profile. In other instances, you'll apply directly on the company website and you'll be redirected to their career page. But highly recommend just applying. It's kind of like sales, right? There's a lot of job seekers out there. So the more you put yourself out there, the more visibility you'll have, your profile will have, your resume, your cover letter, all that work you're putting in will get. And there's a lot of job seekers out there with this global pandemic. There's just a lot of industries that have been affected. So now more than ever, it's really competitive. So making sure that you're actively putting yourself out there, you're setting those search alerts to be the first in the door will just increase your opportunity and chances of getting seen. So highly recommend apply actively. And a plug, we do have an app that makes it easy if you don't have the LinkedIn app, not only for applications, but I know on my commute to work, even before I go to bed, which probably isn't the best thing to do, but I'd be looking at my news feed. So there's like the jobs feature, but also news feed for just staying on top of what's happening in the industry, within your network, your connections post jobs often. So the app does a lot and it sends you those relevant job posting push notifications. So if you don't have the app, definitely recommend downloading it. And following companies. So mentioned I look at the news feed a ton on LinkedIn. We've actually seen that during this pandemic, there's been an increase in just content that's being consumed on LinkedIn. One of the things that you'll see is if you follow companies, anything that they're putting out, any news, articles, acquisitions, new information, you're going to get that in your news feed. So as you land that conversation with a recruiter, you can say, hey, I just heard you acquired XYZ company, congrats. And they'd be like, oh, wow, this person's doing their homework. So follow those companies, especially the ones that you're most interested in, because you'll get that relevant information and you'll stay up on top of what they're putting out. But also recruiters can search by candidates that follow them, that are engaged with their talent brand. It lets recruiters know that you are most interested in that organization, that company. So I work with recruiters all day, every day, and I recommend look at people that are most interested in you. They've done their research. They're the candidates that are likely to respond. So I'm telling you, I tell recruiters that all the time. So if there are companies that you're interested in, follow them. You'll see the information in your newsfeed, but also in addition, again, super competitive time. So another way, tip for just getting in front of those recruiters so they know that you're interested in them. And keep learning. We're going to transition to not only leveraging LinkedIn to find that next job, but increasing your skill set. And we do that through our learning platform called LinkedIn Learning. We have hundreds, thousands of different different courses on the learning platform. There's different professors that run them. There's just a lot. And Miranda mentioned the thousands of skills we have. There may be a skill you may be gapping. There may be a gap in, and you want to bridge the gap. Maybe you noticed as you were doing that homework and looking up all of the companies and the jobs that are out there that there's a skill that's listed that you don't have. Like, I know for me, I'm not that analytical, and I wanted to increase that. I want to increase my data analytics and Excel savviness. So I took a LinkedIn Learning course on Excel. There's a ton out there. I sit in the sales organization. I'm not quota carrying, but I know it's important for me to brush up on sales skills. I took a LinkedIn Learning course on sales. There's a ton out there, and highly recommend if you haven't taken advantage of LinkedIn Learning, you definitely do that. It is a premium feature, but I'll talk about something we've done in response to the pandemic that'll help that barrier if you don't have it. But also, if you are a veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces, or if you're actively serving and you're on this call, you will get, as part of the PDF that we send you, a link to get a free premium membership, which will allow you to in-mail recruiters, which is amazing, because you normally can't do that unless there are connections. So that's one reason to get premium in itself, but also you'll have access to thousands and thousands of learning courses to, again, up the skill set. And once you complete a course, you can add that to your profile. So I can't say enough about LinkedIn Learning. We really value continuous education here at LinkedIn. And I think it can really help you, again, just stand out to recruiters, showing them the skills you've gained. And Bryon, I think you want to mention something here as well.
Yeah, learning should be something that I feel is a lifelong goal, right? It's never you've learned enough and now there's nothing left to learn. If there's an opportunity like this, particularly if it's geared towards veterans and a grant that's given to us, take it. Judy says this is a lifeline. Snatch onto it and work hard in networking and improving.
Mm-hmm. And I believe, I think they mentioned recently, Viacom employees that are on the call, LinkedIn Learning is a part of your benefits package. So it's something you may have access to already, even if you aren't a veteran or in the U.S. Military. I mentioned in response to the global pandemic, we're doing a lot here. We're trying to do all we can to, again, live up to our mission, which is to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. So one of the things we've done in response is make some courses free. It's a crazy time. I'm joining you from my living room, and you may have heard my dog crying in the background. It's just, there's a lot going on. And so we do have learning paths on the professional side, but also softer skills like working remotely, managing a remote team. If you're interested in management, but maybe you've never managed a remote team, there's a course on that. Seeking a job or navigating your career, coping with stress. There's a ton. We even, our CEO has offered some free learning courses, our former CEO, Jeff Weiner, on leadership, and he's incredible. So a lot of these courses have been made free. So even if you don't have access to premium or don't qualify for the free annual premium, we'll be sending this link out. The PDF will include a link to those 275 free courses. So highly recommend checking some of those out. There's a lot of great content, and a lot of it is free. So did want to make sure we include that in here. Before we get to the Q&A portion, I hope you've learned a lot. Just wanted to remind you of some things we discussed today. So how can you get the most out of LinkedIn? Update your profile, make sure you have a photo, make sure you add industry, and make sure you're ultimately telling the story you want to tell using your profile on LinkedIn. Engage your network. create those, ask for those informational interviews, make those connections, do what you can to increase that network. And if you're a job seeker, adding that open to work so that your network sees that and can help you find that next opportunity. Automate your job search, create those job alerts as a reminder, those search alerts, I mean, to ensure that recruiters, ensure that you know when recruiters are posting those requisitions for the companies that you're most interested in, and get in the door within the first 3 days. It'll really increase the opportunity for you to get that resume looked at by a recruiter. Learn a skill, always be learning, right? That's something we say here at LinkedIn a lot. So again, LinkedIn Learning, there's a free courses, but you may qualify for premium. So we'll send out that link for more information there. And it's here, so you'll get a PDF version, but just do want to recommend, if you are a veteran, definitely do this. It will help you. There's a lot that you can benefit from. Before I worked at LinkedIn, I benefited from my job search of actually investing in premium to have more conversations with recruiters. I can tell you firsthand, it helps you have more conversations. So that's everything we have planned, and I believe there's some questions in Q&A. We want to make sure we get to all your questions. Thank you so much.
All right, Matthew.
All right, thank you guys. My name is Matthew Kushner. I'm with the ViacomCBS Veterans Network, and thank you for putting this LinkedIn Rock Your Profile together. It's fantastic and very informative, and I know that I'm going to use all this notes moving forward. So let's get to the questions. We just received this. I frequently receive invitations from people outside of my network. I regularly add people with first, second, or third degree connections, but is it beneficial to accept invitations from people that I do not know, never met, or have not worked with to expand and grow my network?
Yeah, I'll take that question. So we recommend you connect with people you feel comfortable connecting with. Whenever someone is reaching out to connect with you, they do have the option to put in that little box the reason why they're connecting with you. So earlier we talked about connecting with people to get informational interviews, connecting maybe if you're looking at that company and you know someone who works there. Those would be great reasons to connect. But if someone's just connecting with you out of the blue and there's truly no connection and they haven't basically stated why they would want to connect with you, I personally wouldn't accept that connection. So you connect with people you feel comfortable with. You're always able to ask them why they're wanting to connect to kind of help you decide, but don't just connect with people just to have more connections. Is probably not the best use of the platform.
Great, thanks.
Yep.
Moving on to the next one. What's your general thoughts on multi-hyphenate potential employers? If a profile speaks to all potential employers, is it then a disadvantage to be listed as a multi-hyphenate?
That's a tricky one, actually. So I would say you're using your profile to really network with people. So I'm assuming the multi-hyphen means that you're looking at, maybe you've worked in different industries. I would say if you're at the point of your job search, I would put in the industry that you would want to work in. If you are an entrepreneur and you're wanting people to connect with you because of a service that you're offering, put in that industry. You can utilize the platform however you want. You're not stuck to just one industry. That can be changed as you utilize LinkedIn. So I think whatever reason you have for using the platform at this stage of your life would be where I would put in that industry.
Great, thanks. Moving on, what do I highlight if I haven't been working over the past year?
Yeah, absolutely. We get this question a lot, especially if you are in between positions or if you're coming out of college or you're new to the platform. Highlight the time frame that maybe you were volunteering. Highlight anything that maybe you've worked on in the past, say a project you've worked on. If you're coming out of college, anything that maybe you did for one of your classes, anything you can highlight that you think would help you get that next position, or maybe even help you grow at your current position. That's what I would do. Yeah. Stephanie, you want to add as well?
I'll add in just making sure you put in your education. You can also, if you don't have experience, use the summary area to put explain why, right, there's a gap in your experience. So you could tell that story to anyone that's visiting your profile and say what you've been doing in the meantime, right? You could have taken a break and that's okay. That's normal, but I think it's important to just include that on your profile so anyone that's seeing it has that information. And you can also putting in the open to work, but also for your tagline, you can include like, this is what I'm looking for currently doing XYZ. Like I have people that are like on sabbatical, but then they come back. So tell the story. I think another great thing about the profile is it tells your story, your unique persona. So don't shy away from that. And I think you can use whatever it is that you're investing your time into your advantage, as long as you craft the message appropriately, and you can define that. So I would just explore how you want to pitch that to recruiters.
And even during downtimes, we see that you have extra time to volunteer. Some people will volunteer and take important seats within an organization. List that. If you're a board member or if you're the president of an organization, that's important. And oftentimes for nonprofits is for an important agenda. So list that out there, show that you have those leadership chops, and let the interviewer know what you've been doing with your off time. So that should help.
Thanks, Bryon. Moving on, is there a way to add a cover letter if you apply via LinkedIn?
There isn't right now. That's a good question. When you're applying, when you see the easy apply, those are companies that are not requiring the cover letter as a requirement. But if they are, that is not something that you do. It's separate from your LinkedIn profile. So those are two different things. Good question.
Thanks, Stephanie. More kind of functionality questions here. Is the open to work shown to everyone or only recruiters outside of your current company?
That's a great question. It's an enhancement. So it came out a few months back and you have the choice. So you choose, you're prompted with either you want to just show it to recruiters or to everyone. You choose who you want to see that you're open to work. And your employer doesn't see that unless you toggle it for everyone in your network. That we get asked a lot as well. That is hidden from recruiters at your employer if you do toggle it on for recruiters.
Great. Any suggestions for explaining a gap in past employment?
I can take that one. Speaking as a mom that took a year off a few years ago in my career, I actually had that gap year, explain that piece. Another way to explain it is if you're in between say college and entering your career, maybe you take a time to travel, talk about experiences there. If you're taking a year between two different companies and you do anything volunteer-wise, include that. Bryon mentioned some other great suggestions too. If you're serving on boards during that time frame, I would say anything you've done during that time frame as well to enhance your knowledge about something. Maybe you've taken training courses, or maybe you've taken LinkedIn Learning or a college course. Talk about that time frame there as to why there would have been a gap year.
Great, thanks, Miranda. Another question. I want to transition my career from traditional TV production into digital space, but don't have experience to highlight. How would you suggest helping my profile stand out when you don't really have the experience in the field that you're looking to get into?
Stephanie, you want to take that one, or do you want me to? Go ahead.
I'm happy to take some and then you can add on. So a few things you can do. Recruiters will search by skill. That's one of the things. Industry, job title. I mentioned when early on you can set your career interests. So putting in the job titles that you're most interested in, making sure that your profile shows this is what I'm looking to get into. And we've talked a lot about the education piece, but adding in the skills, making sure that if you don't have the experience, you're at least getting the education to back that up. And then I would also see if you can take informational interviews with people in the space you're looking to get into, so you can understand, like, are there any internship opportunities? Is there any way you can do some volunteer work, so you can add that to your profile in the meantime while you're waiting to get that experience? So those are a few things. Miranda, I'm not sure if you want to add on to that.
I think the summary section is just a great place to put in any aspirations you have. So I would lead with that. Lead with what you're aspiring to do, and then maybe talk about how you're getting there.
Great. Is there anywhere where excellent profile samples can be looked at for ideas or a resource?
You know what, that's a great question. Let us include that in the follow-up and maybe send a few links to that.
Great.
Obviously, you can look at my profile, Stephanie's profile, if you'd like to get some ideas. But we can also include a few others that we know are fully built out and include videos and very interactive stuff.
Just a few more here. Is it beneficial or detrimental to include jobs from early in my career? Say I'm 40 plus and work in tech now, but I worked in a different industry in my 20s. What would you suggest doing that?
I think it's whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm in my mid-40s as well, and I've had many jobs. I have them all included on my profile, but I have also always been in sales, always been in the software tech industry. But if there is something that's from your past that may be a conversation starter, it could be good to leave on there, but it's whatever you feel comfortable with. You don't have to have every position that you've had since college if that's not something that you're comfortable with. But if you have at least the last 3 or 4, I would say include those.
Okay. I periodically get notifications about how many searches I appeared in that week. Can you clarify what that means?
Stephanie, you take that one.
Searches you've appeared in. I know I get the email times your profile has been viewed, so I'm not really sure the searches necessarily, but Miranda, have you seen this? Do you know the email? Yeah.
For instance, you've built out your profile, you have your skill sets, you have your industry. What recruiters are doing whenever they're searching, they have set criteria that they're searching for. So they're searching for individuals in your industry with your skill set, maybe your job title. So if you're in a very high demand position, you've probably been searched quite a bit, and it's letting you know how many searches you have. In addition to that, if you're looking at a job, it'll also let you know what percentage that you're in there. So we try to give you as much information as we can on the LinkedIn platform. You'll notice when you go to build out your profile, is it fully complete? We'll give you a percentage there. So the percentage that you're showing up in search alerts probably has something to do with your industry, your skill set, and your function. You probably have a very great profile that's already been built out.
Thank you. A few more here. I've always included my graduation date on my profile, but I have friends who say I should take it off to avoid age discrimination. What are your thoughts?
Again, I feel like it's what you feel comfortable with. You know, in an area where people may be sensitive to that, if you don't feel comfortable putting it there, maybe remove the years. Sometimes people go back to college late in their career as well, so they may have the dates there. So I don't think that the dates of your education is always an indicator of age, but again, it's truly your digital representation of your professional career. So whatever you feel comfortable with, that's what I would put.
All righty. Is it wise to accept everyone, or should we be more strategic?
So I err on the side of more strategic. I only connect with people that I've met with or are in my network or are reaching out to me with a specific reason to connect. It probably depends on your industry as well. So if you are an entrepreneur and you're trying to build your business and people are connecting with you that way, volume is probably great. If you're a hiring manager and everyone coming through is trying to connect with you, that may not be the best scenario. So again, it goes back to what you feel comfortable with.
I'll just add on to that too. Sometimes people may do that to try and expand their network, to grow their network. That's likely why. But to Miranda's point, asking, like, they should be leading with, this is, you know, I'm looking to switch careers and then want to get into your industry and learn. Just the blanket when they're sending it. So if you're looking to expand your network, I would put in a note so the person sees that. Otherwise, it's hard for them to really understand what your objective is. So yeah, what you're comfortable with, but also keep in mind that's likely why people are doing it. If you're looking to expand your network, adding a note just helps the other person on the other line understand that's what you're doing. We had an initiative here at LinkedIn, the +1 pledge, which is to try and grow, help people that maybe from backgrounds that have been limited in some way, they don't have as big a network, and that can hurt them in the future, in their future career. So just being mindful that like you're getting those connections likely for a reason, and you could be the bridge that helps that person get to that next opportunity, especially if they're trying to switch fields or they're early on in their career. So something to be mindful of, but I think if you are the one doing it, just adding a message just helps create a little clarity around that for the person that you're trying to connect with.
Great. Okay, final two questions here. Hi, as someone who works for CBS but in an IT role, would you recommend selecting entertainment or IST as the industry? Can you talk more broadly on when you work at an entertainment group such as CBS but work in a specific arm of that? It's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to what your aspirations are on LinkedIn, what you're trying to do. So for instance, if you're in IT, putting that as what you would select. If you're working at ViacomCBS, would it be in entertainment? Like I've always put what company I'm working for currently is what I use as my industry. I think that when we spoke earlier as far as building out your profile, if you're looking to change industries, that's when I would put in the industry that I'm wanting to go into. But if you're currently working in the entertainment industry, I would put entertainment.
Great. All right. And final question here, and thank you for everyone giving out those questions. They've been great here. How often do you recommend someone update their profile picture?
I would say make sure it's current. Like make sure your profile picture is the picture that looks like you when you look in the mirror. So, you know, maybe not using one from 1995 spring break or, you know, your high school photo. It's probably not the best. So I would say whatever is a very recent picture that's going to reflect what you look like currently.
All right. That's all for Q&A. Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you once again for attending the ViacomCBS Veterans Network Rock Your Profile event. And thank you, Miranda and Stephanie, for lending us your time and your expertise. We could not have asked for better partners for this event. It's professionals like you that make a huge difference in the world. Thank you. We hope that you enjoyed this event and found a few helpful tips on improving your professional online profile. If you still have questions, as mentioned earlier in the presentation, please forward that to our website at ViacomCBSVeteransNetwork.com, and we will get to those questions in short order. If you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, please like, share with some friends, and subscribe if you'd like to keep up to date on what we are doing throughout the year. We are the ViacomCBS Veterans Network, and we hope to see you at the next event.